Yes.
Regular or something.
And the
Did you like the ricotta though? Like
tomatoes.
you didn't really comment on the ricotta.
I did. I like the ricotta. Yeah, that was really good. That's kind of like where did I have that before? I
The
thought
burrata.
Burrata. You had it at
Burrata.
Space 220.
yes. That's
Yes.
yes, the ricotta was very good.
Yes, it is.
Yes. But
Yeah.
like, there was so much like there was the breadsticks that were good with that olive oil.
Oh,
I didn't
Yes.
fill up on anything because I knew I was getting that big bowl of pasta.
yeah.
And so I wanted to like save room because I knew that'd be
Yeah.
super filling. So I was holding
Their olives are so good too.
So the olives are off the menu.
What?
Yes.
No, I love them because they were warm.
I know. So
They're-
we were going to order them. We were going to order those Sunday night.
Yeah.
So they actually gave us a physical menu. They don't have the scan code anymore at Topolino's.
Really?
And they're like, yeah, we didn't really add anything new here, but we did remove a couple things, and olives was one of the things that was removed. I was so mad.
I'm like,
love
that
those.
must be the easiest thing for them
Right?
to make.
Right? You have olives. Yeah.
Dump them, warm
You dump them out of a jar, and that's it. Yeah.
They make them. No,
the,
somebody makes
the olive oil was good to dip your little breadsticks in.
I'm
it is good.
Those breadsticks were crazy looking. They're like prongs. They kind of look like little trees.
Yeah,
Oh,
so good.
that's interesting.
That's actually a sweet spot for Harmonious too.
Oh, it's a sweet spot for Harmonious. Even though
Could
I'm
you
not
see
big fan.
the?
Yes, 100%.
We didn't even go out. We didn't even go out to the terrace. We just watched because we're
Mark
like kind of
April.
close to a window. We just
But you
watched from
couldn't
our
hear
seat.
it, right?
If you go outside, they pipe in the
For the
music.
music. Yeah,
Gotcha.
it was
That's
pretty
kind of
cool.
cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Hey everybody, yes, we are back from Marathon Weekend with the bling bling. We'll put our stuff in our medals and stuff on for the second show. That's what we're going to talk about. We got hats.
I'm assuming that's why I'm here because like I only come in when Ricky and Pam are here. So
That's right. We're doing Brady Bunch style today, all four of us, because we're going to talk Marathon Weekend on Friday next.
Yep.
So, but let's do listener questions. All right, because the first question's right up Scott's alley. That we're going to do. If you have questions, put them in the live chat. We need live chat. I like live ones because it's about good. It's about signature dining, and that's your jam. Like if it was about counter service,
that's Pam's jam too.
That is Pam's jam. It's you guys.
Pam's jam.
I'll read the question. I'll go get some peanut butter crackers out of the kitchen. I'll be back in 5
And me and Pam will just debate.
We'll talk.
Right.
Okay, there's the question.
Come on, Scotty.
Hit me up.
I got it.
It's like we're on the high school debate team.
Yes.
Only we're on the same team.
Or-
We'll
I
just
mean,
break it down so that we can.
Depends on what the question is. If the question is when is Jico coming back, I wish I had an answer.
Right.
Seriously.
Look at that. Sarah's got an awesome profile pickup already with those medals.
Nice.
You can do something like that. Ooh, I did this. Oh, hang on. Gotta get the breaking news out of here. Let's see, clear. Oh, the Our Guest Podcast is live right now.
What?
Look at my phone, baby. I got to keep that on there for a couple days because that was
Nice.
awesome. And I was like, yeah. I'm wore out, dude. I'm sore. I'm still sore from that Saturday. That was Saturday. I'm still sore from running that hard on that stupid half marathon, but I don't care. I have it forever. 158, baby. Whoa.
That's awesome.
Out of crowd 4. I'm so
That's
pumped
awesome.
about that because I'm an old dude, man. I'm 48 years old. That's crazy.
I'm saying if Steve didn't have any back issues, man, he would smoke you. We
Oh,
talked about that
dude,
this week,
he-
actually,
I know,
Pam.
he would-
We talked about how Steve is actually the most athletic out of all of us.
100%. As we said, like, how ironic is it that Steve's the runner, right? He can our rear ends. Like, if
He
he
went to college on a runner scholarship to Pitt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so crazy.
we talked about that. We're like, of all of us, like, Steve would
I know. So what's funny is at his high school, he is on the.
You talked about that.
I know. I can't remember what it is.
Because doesn't he have like a photo of himself like,
Yes!
doing the record? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Scott talked about
Yes. Yeah, and he had to go back to his high school because he's like in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He has records there that people still have not broken.
That's amazing.
I know, right? So
That's
It's
amazing.
still there. Oh, that's amazing. That's so cool.
He's got
I
a gold
know.
jacket when he comes back to visit. They put him in all gold.
No,
He's like a
I
Hall
know.
of Fame.
He like won a gold medal at the States. There's like I know.
They got a Browns bust of Steve.
Yeah. That's Steve Forrester right there, man.
I know,
That's
right?
the man,
Too
the myth,
funny.
the legend.
I know. Maybe he'll take it up again. Maybe when he retires at some point. Well, okay, he still has a long way for that. But I don't know. At some point, maybe he will retake up this. So you never know.
He's
You
done
never
some
know.
of those. Like he's walked like some 5Ks with like Hannah, hasn't he? I think.
Yeah,
Or-
yeah.
All right, let's see if
Yeah.
my voice is shot from screaming on Sunday as I went back in and cheered everybody in for the last 2 hours. It's funny how one margarita has you just screaming after a full marathon. You're dehydrated. You don't realize it until you get.
Yeah, I was at Hollywood Studios and I swear I could hear you.
Well, actually, I had a second one because I had one after I finished. Then I was like, I need to have one with my boy Scotty G when he comes by. So I went and got a second one so we could cheers. And then that one, I was like, oh, I need to hold back. Yeah, and then I had the worst headache. Okay, so here we go. But it was a good marathon. It was a good marathon and a good margarita. All right, 2022. Here we go. The podcast matches of the year. Welcome to episode 2022 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday to you, and thank you so much for joining us here for more of your listener questions. And we are back from Marathon Weekend 2022, and my voice is a little bit, well, it actually kind of sounds like a radio DJ. I kind of like this. It's recovering from all that cheering on Sunday, which was a lot of fun. We ran the 26.2 and then got to have a good time getting back out there on the course near Mexico and Norway, watching many of the Lizards bring it home to get those medals. And, well, you know, it's kind of a tradition. We share margaritas here and there too, and have a good time. But it was a wonderful weekend. We're going to talk about that on Friday. But we have to do our due diligence. We got to answer our listener questions. Questions are here. They got to be answered. And we have the dream team, all four of us here. Joining me today from down in Atlanta, Georgia, we have Ricky. She's over at themountsforless.com. Happy Wednesday, Ricky. How has it been going?
You know what? It has been going really well, actually. So, you know, it is the middle of January, which can be, you know, it's a little chilly. I'm not happy about it. I know it's not as chilly as a lot of other places around the country, but I'm not happy about it. But with all that being said, I'm going to make the best of it because I have this awesome hot chocolate maker at home here, and I've never found it again. It's from Mr. Coffee. I'm so happy that I have it, and it literally just steams up the milk, and it stirs the mix really well, and like it makes like the best hot cocoa. So like that sucker has been on like point the last few days that it's been so cold here in Atlanta. So yeah, it's just out and ready to make me some delicious hot cocoa.
Lewis, this weekend supposed to get snow. I mean, you know, again, it's a few days out right now. So we're trying to decide, is it a French toast kind of storm? Is it the bread and milk? You got to get to the grocery store type of snow.
It's a good question.
May or may not be a Jam Fest in Indianapolis. Who knows? Because there's been like, you know, some teams had to drop. It's one of those things like you don't know what's going to happen until like, you know, 24 hours out at this point. But yeah, I get pumped up though. Like I always want to be a weatherman. Like I hope we get like a foot. I don't care. You know, bring it on. I got a Jeep. So,
it reminded me of back home, Dave Murray. You know, he used to get so excited about.
Yeah, Steve Templeton's who I was watching a couple minutes ago. But yeah,
gotcha. Dave Murray gets so excited about the weather. Totally. Maybe a little too excited, but he's just really into the weather. I'm just
weatherman. That's what you do. All right. Also joining us, we have Pam Forest, the co-owner of the Magic for Less Travel. Pam, happy Wednesday. What's going on with you?
Happy Wednesday. I'm glad that y'all are back safe and sound here from that. I missed seeing y'all over the marathon weekend. It brought back lots and lots of good memories. This year, it just did not work to be there. We're still, I don't know. How can I still be like moving things and unpacking things? Like how can that still even be happening? But anyways, it is. But I think I'm in the home stretch. I don't know. And there's guys like showing up, like I'll like, we're just like little things, you know, we'll find something that needed finished and get finished right. So we call the builder and they're like, no problem, we'll send someone over. So then guys are walking through the house again. And it's the craziest thing. But what's so weird is as soon as you move and your stuff's in the house, like it feels like the house you've always lived in. You know what I mean? Like it just is like, did I even live in those other houses? I don't know. But anyway, so that's where we are.
I understand that. I get
Your
that.
house has become a home, is what it is.
It has become a home. Yes, we've already made some crazy memories. And, so, anyways, yeah.
You'll make 21. All right. Also joining us, we have from Up in the Mitten, 5-time marathoner. I like the ring of that. We have hashtag Scotty G. Scott, how's it going?
Pretty good. You know, we just got back from another successful marathon weekend. I'm privileged to be on the show with two wonderful ladies and you, Mike. So thanks for inviting me again to take some listener questions.
Let's do it. And again, Friday, we're talking about Marathon Weekend. We've got a couple questions about Marathon Weekend. We'll defer that into the Friday show because memories and stuff like that we'll talk about. Leading us off, we have, let's see here, a question from Diane in the live chat. She's here, so she gets to the top of the heap. She says, how does one score seating at the chef's table at Victoria and Alberts? Now, Victoria and Alberts is not reopened yet, I don't believe so. It has not.
No.
Breaking news, though. Senses Spa, which is now not Senses Spa anymore. I think it's the spa at the Grand Floridian or something kind of a little bit generic, but it's a spa. Who cares? You know, they put out a press release with this picture of like really nice looking candles. I mean, fancy. So who cares, right? You get your massage. I don't care what it's called. It could be called,
exactly. Just give me a massage.
Back rub place. I don't give a, who cares? If I need a back rub, I don't care if it's called Senses or whatever. Because I've been there. I went there after my very first marathon. Talk about a fish out of water experience. That was me at the Grand Floridian in a spa. But anyway, I was like, it's in the parking lot? Okay, whatever. But Pam, have you done Victoria and Alberts and Chef Table?
I have not done the Chef's Table, but I have done Victoria and Alberts, though, a few times. And actually, it's not like a big mystery. You just book it the way you do anything else. When it comes back, check to see if they're actually loading it onto the online system. If so, you'll just be able to book it there like you can any other dining reservation. If not, you'll have to be on the phone, of course, when they open at 7 a.m. And it is a really great experience. You're sort of in there with the chefs. Now, I'm guessing that when they do reopen Victoria and Alberts, depending on where we're at, they may not have that chef's table experience available right away, just because the proximity that you are to the chefs, they're cooking right there. So, but we'll see. You never know what's going to happen. And I love some of the things that Disney has been able to bring back lately, including some of those extras, like some of the tours. And like you mentioned, the spa. We've had lots of people asking about the spa. So some good stuff coming back.
But see, I try to like get the rhyme or reason as to when things are reopening. And I just think, right now is a weird time. And again, these things probably happen months in advance, right? To prepare these things, to get everybody ready to go back to their roles, to get the facilities prepared. But like, this is a really strange time in the next couple of weeks to open a spa. Because you talk about proximity, and I mean, that's an intimate experience, right?
Well, I've actually been getting massages basically around here in Georgia since basically like last summer. So all I do is wear a mask while I have my massage done. So, they do ask me questions if I've been in contact with anybody or anything like that. But that's basically, as long as I wear a mask and my massage therapist wears a mask, I can't imagine why they can't do the same kind of thing in Walt Disney World. So, I know it's not Walt Disney World that I have the experience, but I assume it would be pretty similar,
I totally agree. It can be done safely, if everybody's, masked up and stuff like that. But I just think, the timing is just, but I know like it's all done well in advance. And it's just, some of these things just look like, it's like, whoa, that's a weird time, like it's just, like the spa opening now is like something that, back a few months ago, things were a lot better and it wasn't, it's kind of crazy, but okay. Jeffrey's got a great question. And Scott, we can talk about this one because this does have to do with, the Expo down at the Marathon Weekend. And for those that are going to Princess or Surprise Weekend in the end of March or early April, he says, was it me or was the merch selection light this year? No pint glasses or wine glasses. And those are typically things that you find at the Wine and Dine half weekend, but I think sometimes they're at Marathon Weekend. And then a follow-up, Michelle was saying, were there even those sneaker ornaments? My friend was there opening Wednesday and said they had the flat Mickey ones, which she fortunately grabbed. So we got there on Wednesday at about 1 o'clock to the Expo? It was early afternoon. Yep. We didn't want to go with madness at like 10. And we heard the line was crazy, like at 8 o'clock in the morning. It opened at 10. Huh. And so give your thoughts on the merch at the Expo, because I thought it was light.
I thought the merch was very light. And I think that's just true it's par for the course wherever you go. It's not even Run Disney, right? It's just everywhere in our country.
Everywhere in the world.
Exactly.
Yes, in the world. Yeah.
Floating out there.
And going back to Wine and Dine, like I think about those like the Run Disney ornaments. I love the Run Disney sneaker ornament. That's one of my favorite things they do at the Expo. But I heard like they ordered them from Wine and Dine. They just showed up like a month later with the connection, And probably the same thing happened here for Marathon Weekend. As you all know, like I love to buy mouse ears for like my people at work and get them personalized. I went to where they moved the embroidery, like kind of like in Town Square this last weekend to get some mouse ears. 100% sold out of mouse ears.
Wow.
Like they said that you might be able to find a couple of Hollywood studios or the Beach Club, but those were the only places on property where you could even get mouse ears, which I think is one of the
stop for this.
common.
I just want to stop you for 1 second because Scott's talking about just the traditional, like your black Mickey Mouse ears.
Yeah.
Like the most iconic souvenir probably at Walt Disney World, probably Disneyland too. It's the regular ears that you get. They are not available on property right now. Because I even went to the studios and looked that one night. Remember, Scott?
Yeah.
Excuse me. And I was going to get some, and they didn't have them at the studio. So I doubt Beach Club even had them. Because what you had to do was buy them one place and bring them back to the Magic Kingdom if you want them embroidered.
Oh.
I mean, how crazy is it that you can't get Mickey ears? And then Scott and I both started freaking out that we weren't going to get ears at the end of the marathon. Because that's like one of our favorite.
Right, of course.
Because you got to earn them. But sorry, I didn't want to cut you off. But yeah, those just traditional Mickey ears, unavailable. Can't get them.
Yep. Yeah, so I think it just goes and the Run Disney Expo just ties into all the other stuff that we're seeing within like the regular like Emporium and other merchandise stores. It's just tough right now for merchandise, and so it didn't really. I mean, I was a little disappointed. Like there were some of those traditional things I would have liked to have seen, but I went in with those expectations that I was going to walk out with 0 items. To be honest, I'm surprised they actually had the Run Disney shirts for each race. To be honest.
I know, it's so weird. I was in a store after Christmas. This is after Christmas, after New Year's. And I walked in and they had like all this Christmas merchandise. And I was like, what has happened? And they're like, it literally just got loaded off of the truck this morning. We just got it. And I was like, oh my, okay.
Yeah.
Michelle's saying in the live chat she could not find Chippendale goldfish anywhere. She looked everywhere for a kid.
Oh.
I love those things. And you're right. I never did see them. I didn't really look for them.
I haven't looked for them either, but I haven't seen them in a while either. So.
And I was tasked with getting, because my dog has like a mini collar. It's a really cute little, Riley's got a little mini collar. And the neighbors watched Riley while we went to Wisconsin because we couldn't find anybody else to watch her. And they kept commenting on how cute that collar was. So I was like, no problem. I told them that weekend. I was like, they have them everywhere at Walt Disney World. I was like, I'm going out for marathon in January. I'll get you one.
Should never say that.
Nope. We found a leash that had that pattern, but no collar. It's just, things are so crazy. So if you're expecting to, the thing is, like, you just got to have a different mindset at this point, because we used to say, okay, when I go down, I'm going to get X, Y, and Z. And it's no problem. You get it at the Emporium, you get it at World of Disney. There's a lot of places you can just count on.
Yep.
Right now, you can't count on it. I mean, you just, if you see it, get it for sure. Don't think you can go back and get it a couple days later. We've said that in the past, but I mean, it is so true right now. It could be totally gone an hour later, and you're just not getting it.
One nice thing is, though, you can still get caramel apples. The problem is they don't slice them for you. I can't wait till they can start slicing those caramel apples.
Can't.
Because the plastic knife does not work very well for slicing those things.
I didn't even think about that they couldn't slice them.
Nope.
Oh my gosh. That makes sense though, but like, wow, I didn't even think about that. That must be difficult actually.
And you're not allowed to even use your hands when you eat them. You just have to put your hands behind.
Yeah, exactly. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Next question is from Heather. She is 520 miles away from Walt Disney World. Doesn't say where she is, but put a spot on a map and do a circle there and find her.
We'll do a search. We're going to narrow it down, Heather. We'll find you.
We'll find you. I mean, we'll have a lot of options, but
I think she's in Mexico somewhere.
Could be. Hey, BOGP crew. My husband and I are looking to take a trip to Walt Disney World without the kids to celebrate our 20th wedding anniversary. Would love some suggestions on a special meal or several. Thanks, Heather. All right, so let's all go around and give one option. Special meal. So we could do signature. We could do something, even if it's not signature, some kind of special, experiential dining. All right, I'll lead it off with Ricky. Where would you, 20th anniversary?
Oh,
man. Up with a significant other for 20 years, good and bad.
Sadly, or I guess good for us, Brian and I are getting close to that point. So.
Close.
That's the kind of crazy part is I'm like, dang, I'm getting close to that. Oh gosh, I mean, I'm gonna go with a little like outside the box, but also I think it would be a good option. I am gonna go with, if you can get it, Space 220. I've had fantastic meals there. I think the atmosphere is really awesome. It's a really unique environment. And I really, really liked dining there. So I'm going to throw something out completely that's out of left field in a way. So I'm going to go with Space 220.
Because you could say your significant other is out of this world.
That's correct. Yes, sir. That is correct.
But
yes.
So bad.
That is bad.
See, look at that. take 8 days off of podcasting and you still got it.
You got something. I don't know.
48.6 miles later, and you can still podcast. All right. Scotty G, where are you going for 20 fabulous years?
Oh man, this probably won't surprise many. But I'm going to California Grill for 20 years.
Now Pam's like scattering. She's like, oh, no.
I know. Well, I had a backup too in case of Pam's.
I have one too because I thought you might pick it.
And see, that's why I didn't pick California Grill, because I had a feeling one of you guys was doing it.
So I will say, like, post-pandemic, it hasn't lived up to the standard, but I think that's true for a lot of places. I mean, like like a place like California Grill too, like some of their fresh ingredients they use might be hard to get right or something. Like, right. I don't know, maybe I'm not a chef by any means, so I don't know for a fact, but it's still, the setting is gorgeous, the food is still outstanding. I would even request to try to get a table by the window, like, that I think being closer to the window, looking down the Magic Kingdom makes the setting even better. But it doesn't matter where you are in that gorgeous restaurant, it will be a magical 20th anniversary dinner. And
you could say you're top of the world for me.
No.
That was a stretch. Okay, Pam, where are you going for 20 years?
Well, since Scott and I sort of would have picked the same thing, I'm going to give a different one, though. And it's one that we were just talking about before we started recording, and that is Flying Fish, which is going to be opening back up soon. So it'll be great to see that be back. I've missed it. It's just a great restaurant. There's so many great choices. Even if you aren't a seafood lover, which they sort of focus on that, there's great steaks, lots of good things to eat. So you'll find good stuff.
Awesome. Angie in the live chat says, my husband and I did a no kids trip for our 20th and we ate at Ohana. The bread pudding alone is worth the trip. Amen. Amen to that. And Rhonda Lee says she's going to pick Morimoto's over at Disney Springs. Beautiful location, amazing food. I like that choice. Listen to this. Rahlman's going with Topino's Terrace.
Yeah.
Here's the deal, okay? Because I'm not a fancy eater, but here I had a choice. Like I could have gone to the Magic Kingdom, get some pictures, but I want to hang out with my boy Scotty G. We had the ADR. I was like, I got to hang with my boy Scotty G and Liz and Beth, and so we had a great meal. I'm glad he kind of talked me into going to the meal because I'm not a fancy eater. I didn't know if I'd like anything. I just kind of feel like a fish out of water when I go to these places. But like our waiter, he had like a real distinct voice. What was his name, Scott? Do you remember?
Christopher, I believe was his name.
Christopher. It was just like, he was like a character to me. I mean, I don't know. Like he
talked like a pirate. He really talked like a pirate.
But it was like perfect. Like this is a full Italian meal, and because I go to places like Casey's, right? You read the menu, it's on a board, that's it. Boom. You figure it out for yourself. No, he's going through the menu. He's talking about why the menu is the way it is. This is what he recommends. And I know everybody does signature dinings like Mike, it's just how it rolls, but I don't do this very often. So, we go in there. First of all, the place is gorgeous. Like, it's just, you can tell it's fancy because this is my first time in there. Like, I roll in, first you're going to the top of the building, which is awesome because, it's fancy when you're at the top of a hotel like California Grill. But I go in, it's beautiful. It's got these, I don't know, spaghetti noodle lights everywhere, pasta, I don't know. They're just really cool looking. It's dark. There's a lot of space between the tables in there. It's the opposite. We ate at Boathouse one night. And I mean,
gosh,
they're trying to set a world record for how many people they could get in that restaurant at one time. It was crazy. I was elbowing people the entire time because I said,
not to sidetrack that. Like my elbow was touching the guy next to me at a different table.
We could have
seriously just took my fork and grabbed a piece of fillet off.
You should have been like, we're so close, we could share.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
I'm like Joey Tribbiani, man. I bring my fork everywhere. Let me take that.
We were sitting so close to the table next to us that was celebrating a birthday. We almost got offered their cake. It was crazy. Like we almost had to sing. It was nuts how crowded Boathouse was, but the food was good. But anyway, back to Topolino's. It was just, it's a dining experience. The food was outstanding. I started off with kind of the traditional salad. It's got a fancy name, but it was just like just a garden salad with awesome dressing, and it was awesome. And I had the ricotta, risotto. What's the pasta?
You had rigatoni.
Rigatoni. I knew I'd get it eventually. It started with an R. It was super good. I mean, it was fancy, but it was super good. But here's the thing that was the kicker. And Scott, we talked about this before we started recording. While we were in there, we went out on the terrace and we watched. Now, you don't get a very good view on the terrace of Enchantment at the Magic Kingdom. You can kind of see the high fireworks over the building. However, Harmonious was playing while we were inside the restaurant. And it is an amazing view of Harmonious from this restaurant. We didn't even go outside. We didn't even get up from our table. You can see directly down into World Showcase Lagoon. You can see the screens. Now you're pretty far away, but you can see the whole apparatus that's in the center of World Showcase Lagoon with all the fireworks. It's an outstanding view of Harmonious, and they pipe the music in out on the terrace if you decide to get up and go out there. So Scott, I think that's, it's kind of the whole deal, right? It's fancy. Yep. You're in a very, the ambiance of the restaurant feels really good, but you also, if you time it right, you're going to get to see an outstanding fireworks show from a distance. You're going to have outstanding food, great service. I think it just kind of fits it all. And I'm glad you made me go because it was a neat experience.
And you know what it needs, and Pam, maybe you can help me out here because I didn't go, and it wasn't open very long before the pandemic started. But how there's outdoor furniture on the terrace?
Yes.
Has there ever been a bar out there, or is there plans to put a bar? Because that would be could you imagine there was a lounge out there? That would be, I would never leave.
Well, there was furniture out there, and the plan was that there would be an outdoor lounge at that point when it opened, but it actually really never got off the ground. There were a few things that I saw there. Maybe they were events or something like that, and a few times that it was sort of open, but yeah, it didn't. And that's what I think too. I mean, it's such a great location, and we went there. There was a press event or a media event or something, and I went there soon after it opened, and they had us out there, and that was exactly what I said. I'm like, as soon as this lounge opens, this is where I will spend most evenings.
I will not leave that spot.
Oh, I mean, because the view is amazing up there. But I mean, I can imagine in the summer, just the nice breeze up there,
right?
You have that great furniture, the outdoor.
I know. I was gonna rope drop it. I had plans. I'm what time does it open? 3:00? Yes. I will be here. I will be the first one. In fact, I'll get here early. I'll stop down at Bar Riva and then I'll come and wait, and then we'll rope drop, and then I'll just take over this whole area. No,
and that's what's nice about there, versus California Grill. I mean, you can take your if you have a reservation, you can take your cocktail, your wine and glass out there. But California Grill, you don't have a nice little patio furniture that you can sit on where you can over there, and that's huge. So, Mike, I like your selection for the 20th anniversary.
How about that? Mike got a little fancy, and you know what? It's easily accessible, even if you're staying at Pop Century. Dude, I just hopped on that old Skyliner, and I probably was underdressed, but it was marathon weekend. You can get away with it. Actually, we wore ears. I
made you feel better. I wore my ears.
You're probably he's an idiot wearing his ears, but Scott's a good friend. He put his ears on, so I wasn't the only idiot.
No, it was good.
His ears on. So there you go. Okay, next question is from Donnie. Donnie, thanks for being in the live chat with us. He says, where would you recommend to go to take birthday pictures for a 2-year-old? I'm going to throw one thing out there real quick, just to think about, just to consider. Since you have a 2-year-old, and if you're thinking about going every year, every few years in the future, find one spot or one kind of an icon that will be there for the next decade, 20 years, and take that picture with your child each and every trip. Some people have done this. Back in the day, there was a Native American statue outside one of the shops on Main Street. I think it was Nate from Wedway Radio. When he was growing up, he always got his picture in front of that, or just some kind of location at Walt Disney World. And then you kind of see how, your kid ages with that same consistent spot at Walt Disney World, how they get bigger. So that'd be kind of something fun to do if you plan on going many times. And every year or every few years when you go back, you get that same spot and see how your kid grows. So that'd be that with 2-year-old, you can get in on that because once they're, 10, it's I wish I'd done that when they're younger. But Pam, 2-year-old, I mean, they're kind of crazy at 2-year-old. They're like, where'd you get a picture of that?
I think all the icons at the Value Resort, especially Pop Century, has that huge big wheel, but all of them have really great icons. And I think that would be a great place to take a picture, and you can keep going back. And Pop Century would be an easy one to get to because, as you mentioned, the Skyliner, it would be a great place there to do. And I think another one too that would be great is throughout the years, take your child's picture next to something that was really meaningful that trip. And it sort of changes as they grow older, but I think that would be a great one to take too.
Speaking of Pop Century, I just spilled soda all over my face when I was so excited. Sorry about that if you're watching the video. Paige and I'll find the picture and post it on social today, but Paige and I, on one of our very first trips, we got a picture of Pop Century in front of the Potato Heads. Because she liked the Potato Head. She was 6. And then on one of our trips, this was probably 3 or 4 years ago now, she was 21. You know, so we found the picture and we stood the exact same way in front of the potato heads, you know, but now she was 21 instead of like a sassy little 7-year-old. And it was kind of funny when I was an old dude instead of, you know, my young self that I used to be. But it was, yeah. And in the potato, you know, yeah, Pop Central is a great location. Kids will love that. Ricky, where are you going for little kid pictures?
Gosh, you know, part of me wants to say, you know, with a character, I mean, of course, Mickey is the first one that I think of. I know you can't really, it's not the same right now because you can't like hug Mickey or anything like that, but at least you can still see him you know, on in the main street, the Town Square Theater. So I think that that's somewhere I would still consider getting pictures with Mickey, even though it's a little bit different, you know, than it would be normally. I still think that that would be what I would do. So wear a fun like birthday t-shirt, you know, get a birthday hat or whatever and just go with it.
You know what the wait time was to meet Mickey?
Was it ridiculous?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was 5 minutes.
Oh, hey. Okay. Perfect.
It was crazy. Because we were looking for those ears for Scott and we're like, 5
Mickey's
minutes
5
to meet the
minutes.
mouse. Let's get in line. Boom. We were in there. Crazy. How's that? That should be illegal. I felt bad for Mickey.
Hey, you know why? You're not going to like my answer.
Why?
No fast pass.
Okay, next. All right. So, where are you taking this 2-year-old?
First off, I liked your answer though, Mike, about like trying to find something that like doesn't change very much. You know, Emily has a lot of series where it's always at Epcot. Like she's either like in front of like Finding Nemo, like with those fish or the mine fish. That's one that we've seen a lot of progression on, or the when they used to have the Soren sign out in front of the land. That was another one. But you know where I'm taking my 2-year-old? I'm going to Old Key West, and we're going to take some photos in front of the most beautiful palm trees on the world.
Yeah, nice.
We're going to do some palm tree photos.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add. I think all three of you gave some really good answers there to kind of get started for a 2-year-old. But just work maybe something that's important to you, you know, or your family, or something that you did when you were younger when you went there, just to do like a compare and contrast kind of thing is what I would suggest.
You remember, still one of the best values going right now is that Capture Your Moment, where you can get the, you know, that 20 minutes with a PhotoPass photographer for not a lot of money. And I mean, they really get down, they get on the ground, and I saw that happening a lot in the Hubgrass.
Well, Neil did that, and Allie did that for their marathon photos. That's pretty awesome.
See, look at that's Neil. Look at him. Look at the rock star that he is. I didn't know that. That's awesome. I love that. All right, it's Stacy Nyman. Hey, marathoner, what's going on your way back home? I think they're in Tennessee right now, watching live on Facebook. She says they take photos of the kids in front of the fountains in France. Oui, very beautiful. And Diane says the boardwalk makes beautiful photos. Well, yeah. I mean, okay, come on, Diane. That just blows it out of the water.
Right.
Yeah. That's right.
It is.
And let's see, Alan says, let's go, if you're going West Coast, in Disneyland, photos of the Mr. Toad's Wild Ride car.
Yes.
Or the teacup. They have a teacup out there too in Fantasyland, which is fun to do.
And there's a teacup actually at Disney Springs in that one, like, I call it the influencer store.
This is true, yeah.
Like all that stuff that you'd wear if you're
Yes.
Instagram. I don't know what it's called. I call it the influencer store. Anyway, Kevin's got a question in the inbox. Hey, Mike, Pam, Ricky, and Scott. We have a group of 18 coming down later in February. We have 7 in our immediate group. I've heard from some listeners that larger groups are having difficult times with Genie Plus. What have you heard or experienced with larger groups and Genie Plus reservations? Thanks, everyone. Kevin, he says Disney DMD. So, Pam, what are you hearing as far as, because everything gets a little bit more complicated the more people you have, right? Because it's harder because you have less. It's just hard to find, 18 is a big group. But suggestions, let's go that way. Suggestions.
Yeah, 18 is a really big group, actually, when you're really, when you're thinking about all that. First of all, it's not as if all 18 of you will fit into one ride vehicle at a time, right? So you may want to consider breaking into smaller groups just to make it a little more manageable. Because what's going to happen is the system's going to scan for availability for all of 18, and that may be a very limited number, right? So I would break into 2 or even 3 different groups probably, and like do it. You can still stand there and do it together, right? Do Genie Plus together, try to, and look and see, compare while you're doing it. Okay, what do you see? oh, I can get Big Thunder between here and here. Me too. Okay, let's do that. The only one where it'll be critical or a little more challenging is the first one you're going to make that morning, right? Because you're probably going to do it for one of the attractions that you're more interested in seeing or is more popular. But aside from that, I think that just starting to make the reservations stand there together, try to plan together, and be okay with it if you split up for maybe an attraction or two.
Great advice. Oh, and also I want to throw out there, because this next question is kind of a follow-up to that, and it's about Remy's. So in case you did not hear last week that Remy's no longer has a virtual queue. So we no longer have virtual queues at Walt Disney World. They are all now gone. It is now standby or individual lightning lane. And Carrie has a question I want to throw out there. She says, are we able to get Remy's individual lightning lane in the morning if we don't have a park pass for Epcot, but plan on park hopping there later in the day, in the afternoon? So can you?
You can't do it in the morning. You can do it
once you
yeah. Well, you
can
do it.
You can book it in the morning for an afternoon time slot.
Right. Exactly.
So you can get it.
So I did that over Wine and Dine. So I went at 7 a.m. Like I knew we had like a Magic Kingdom park pass, but we had dinner at Epcot, or we're going to park hop to Epcot. So I got it for 7 p.m. or something like that. Went to Magic Kingdom, did whatever, park hop, and then did Remy Ratatouille at 7 p.m.
All right.
So as long as you can park, as long as you have a park hopper ticket.
Exactly. That was the other thing. There's a lot of folks who, they have encountered that and realized, oh my gosh, I did want, or, I wanted park hopper. I want a park hop. So it is really important to remember if you want a park hop, and the park hopping is valuable right now. I know when it first opened, people weren't sure, but there really hasn't been a date where you couldn't park hop at some point. So not at all, actually. So even and over the holidays, that was not really an issue at all. So if it's not then it's not going to be most days.
All right, Rob's got a question. What's your favorite moderate? So let's just say Disney offers this weekend at a moderate. You got to pick, just let's say this weekend. We're going down for the weekend. Because again, I think that it would change depending on what kind of trip we're taking. Like marathon weekend would be different than if you're going down with your family to go to the parks. I'm just going to throw out Coronado because that would be great pools, great dining, great rooms, and just kind of all in general. I'm just like in a Coronado mood right now. Scott, what about you?
Coronado for sure. I don't like the rooms at Caribbean Beach. And I'll probably talk about Riverside on Friday's show. So Coronado.
All right. Pam, where are you going?
Coronado. I just think that they have upgraded dining experiences. I think that I love the pool area. They have that main feature pool, but then they also have the quiet pools. And those rooms at the tower, like, does the tower even count as a moderate resort? Yeah. It's awesome. So
right. I know, it's so deluxe. It totally feels fancy. Yeah. Ricky, where are you going?
I think I'm going to make a sweep Coronado. And by the way, who would have thought years ago that we would be saying Coronado in a clean sweep? I mean, seriously, like, it was unheard of that we would be saying Coronado. So it just shows you how much times change and things change. And it's just crazy that we're all saying Coronado. But I think that I would have said Caribbean Beach for the purpose of the Skyliner. But I agree with Scott. The rooms are not as good, I feel like, at Caribbean Beaches. I think they are, especially if you get a tower room. I mean, you can't beat that.
Yeah, Coronado was my last moderate I stayed in. And I didn't stay in it because it was always listed as an Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Yes.
Resort. And I thought it was like so far away, like distant from everything else. And the thing is, when you actually look at if you look at where it is in the whole property map, it is dead square in the middle of the center. I mean, it's right next to Epcot and in the studios, right down World Drive from Magic Kingdom and real close to Animal Kingdom. I mean, if it was on the Skyliner, though, I mean, just give it up. That's it. Done. No problem.
Okay. Well, they would have to charge deluxe prices for sure.
Oh, 100%. Oh my gosh, yes, please. Yeah, that'd be crazy. Let's see here. Morgan has a question here in the inbox about extended evening park hours. Hey, BOGP crew. Happy New Year. I'm a teacher and typically take my Walt Disney World vacations over the summer. I'm starting to make potential plans for this year, and I'm curious if you all would have any guesses or insight into the extended evening hours for deluxe hotel guests. Looking at the released dates so far, they have consistently been held Mondays and Wednesday nights. Do you think these will continue through the summer? I usually like to do a split stay and end with a deluxe, so I wanted to try to be as strategic as possible to be able to benefit from that perk. Thank you all for the weekly magic that you bring to the lives of so many. Morgan's out in North Carolina, or Scarolina if you're a Monsters Inc. fan. Pam, what are your thoughts? Because again, we are hearing such great things from guests about these deluxe evening hours, because
Yeah.
it's like an after hours party for free. Now you're paying at deluxe prices. Nothing's free. I mean,
Right.
nothing's even cheap anymore. I'll be honest. Like, you're paying for it, but you're having a good time. But I mean, these things are just, people are having a blast. I mean, it's like if you want to be a rock star, book a deluxe, go to one of these evening hours. But what do you think? Because she's trying to figure out the summer, and they're not out quite that far right now. I checked today.
They aren't. And I think that we will likely see the trend continue the way it has been. The only thing I can see them doing is maybe adding more nights, or maybe looking at, how the theme park reservations go. But I'm going to hope that they keep that schedule sort of stable, because they do know that guests are looking to, plan at that point and plan that far out. So I'm really hoping to see that. But Mike's right. We've just heard nothing but great feedback on these, that it definitely makes staying at a deluxe and paying deluxe prices worth it. So.
All right. Last question of the day is coming from the inbox. It's from Candy, and she says, "Hey, I'm looking for restaurant suggestions to have dinner near park closing time. I would love to be able to walk out of the park after dinner with very little crowds. Booked for spring break 2022. Thank you." And that's from, again, Candy. I don't think you really need a specific restaurant. You just need a restaurant inside a theme park.
Right.
I'll tell you the most epic experience we had, and I had this with Scott. This was back right after the parks opened. Was this August of 2020, I think?
2020,
Scott, when we had Liberty Tree?
Yep.
So this was when hardly anybody was going to this was right after the reopening. They reopened in July of 2020 after the COVID shutdown. We met down there. I took Mallory, and we had a Liberty Tree Tavern meal. In that meal, we kind of lingered. We booked like 15 minutes before park close, like the ADR. Mm-hmm. And Scott's friends with the server, Sandy. Shout out Sandy if she's listening. She's awesome. And she brought us all the foods, and we talked and everything. We learned about public subs, which we'll talk about on Friday. Public pub subs. Let's shout out in parking lots. Tune in for Friday. But anyway, we lingered over this meal. I mean, it's Thanksgiving meal. You can't eat it fast. We're in pain. But we walked out of the park. I think the park was closing like at 6 or 7. It was crazy early.
That's because the park hours were very short.
Right, I mean, we got everything done like 10 times over in that, because there was nobody there. We walked out though, and I mean, we went to the hub and took pictures. Like, we owned the place. I mean, and it was right as the sun was setting. I mean, those are the most epic pictures I have in a theme park. They were amazing. Like with the partner statue and all the flowers and the hub, and I can't get over that. But the thing is, I mean, Scott, I think the thing is, just find a restaurant you like, book it as late as you can, close to park closing. Take your time during the meal,
take your time with the meal, get chatty with the server. So
yeah.
We've done this with Pam, with the Foresters too, and you too, Mike, at the studios. This is one of my epic memories. I think it was on Mallory's birthday. I know it was January, and we had 50s prime time. We all were chatty with the server. We got out, and we didn't realize that the park had been closed for like an hour already. And my gosh, we took some of the most gorgeous photos up and down Hollywood with the neon and everything. That's actually one of my favorite parks to do that at, because it's so colorful at night, and there was no one around. And that's one of the coolest experiences, to get a empty park and just take your time walking out.
Agreed.
It is. I mean, it's a really great way to wrap up a day. So just, go with a restaurant you like. Just look for that last minute ADR, because they're going to let you finish your meal. You're paying for your meal. And then just,
or at Epcot, just get one deep, in Japan or something. I've done that before too. We had hibachi in Japan, because you're deep in the park, and then you just take your time, walking out a World Showcase. It's pretty awesome.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for today's listener questions. Great questions, everybody. Thanks for joining us live on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for the inbox questions. If you have a question that you need answered, we're ready next Wednesday. So send that to Mike@BeOurGuestPodcast.com. Put listener question in that title, and we'll get it on the show for you. Don't forget, today's podcast always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We are standing by right now just like operators on those old 80s TV shows. We are standing by to help you plan your next Disney adventure 2022.
I hear the phone's ringing right now.
It's like a telephone. That's right. So we are, you know what? I'm back from Marathon and ready to rock. I'm ready to plan. So let's do this. We're going to get you to Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, Adventures by Disney. Where you want to go, we're going to take great care of you. And I would love to work with you planning those trips. We have great agents. We all know the product. We are passionate about the Disney destinations. We want to get you the best deal possible. But more importantly, we want to make sure that you have the most fun on that trip. Let me just tell you, if you follow my Instagram, I'm pretty good at finding fun ways to have a good time down at Walt Disney World, especially. I mean, just look. I mean, what's what we do? We have a good time. I'm going to tell you how to have a good time too. So just drop by themagicforless.com today. Look at all the great stuff to get you started. Fill out that quote form. Put some dates, some resorts, who's going, and we'll go from there. We'll get you some pricing and availability, and we'll have a good time planning that trip. That's what it's all about. So check them out today over at themagicforless.com. Also, please use our Amazon affiliate link, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. That really does help us out. One extra click. Again, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you again to our patrons, patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. We have the bonus show every week, Mike in the Midwest, coming your way. So check that out. Again, patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Connect with us on social. Scott's at Epscott, EPSCOT on Instagram and Twitter. Ricky's at Ricky Nibs, Rikki. Nobody can ever spell her name. It's RIKKINIBS. Check her out on Instagram and Twitter.
Yep.
Pam, TMFLT, stands for The Magic for Less Travel. Pam at on Instagram and Twitter. And I'm at Be Our Guest Mike. So give us a follow over there. Of course, subscribe to the show on Facebook and YouTube. And we would love a rating and a review wherever you grab this show. We just like it. It helps us out. Thank you so much for that. All right, we're going to be back again on Friday, and we're talking about Marathon Weekend memories. I mean, we're going to talk about our hotel stays. I was at Pop. Scott was at Riverside. We're going to talk a little bit about the Expo, about the races, about the cheering squads. I mean, about everything we did, the transportation, the meals. It's going to be a good, even if you're not a runner, we're talking about just fun times all around for 5 days down at Walt Disney World. I think I can remember it. It was a blur, but we'll do the best we can. So come on back on Friday. We're going to have a good time with that. So for Scott, Pam, and Ricky, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Wednesday. Time to get back to work, and we'll see you real soon. Yeah, congratulations, Rob. Your dogs were the better team. I know. You guys looked good last night.
Yeah, that is true.
How about the Braves and the Dogs?
I know, it's kind of crazy. We don't know what this is like here in Georgia to actually have winning teams. We're used to like choking completely. So yeah, I don't know what this is like.
We're used to being Detroit-based teams.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll get into the hunt, and then we'll just die a really slow, painful death. So.
My Spartans did beat Pittsburgh though in the
For sure. It was a competition of who had no quarterback.
Basically, yes.
That's what I heard. I was so sick that night. Paige brought that bug home. Ugh. I love the Peach Bowl, and I missed it. I even missed the game like when Mizzou beat South Carolina. That's how bad it was. Oh. I heard Mallory screaming. That's all I heard. Okay, here we go. 2023. Holy smoly. Dun, 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 dun. Welcome to episode 2023 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com, and of course, one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Friday to you. Hope you had a great week. And for all the runners, we hope that you are recovering well from Marathon Weekend 2022. And you know what that means. Princess Racers, you are now up. You're on the clock. It's going to be here before you know it. So get those miles in, get those costumes created, and get ready to have a great time down at Walt Disney World at the end of February. But today, Scott and I were down there. We ran a lot of miles, and Pam and Ricky know exactly what this is all about because they've been there many, many years, and they were following everything on social media. So we're going to have a good time kind of recapping all the Marathon 2022 stories and all that stuff you want to hear about. So joining me today, we have Ricky from themouseforless.com down in Atlanta, Georgia. Ricky, happy Friday. Welcome to the weekend. What's up?
Happy Friday, and I would just like to say a huge congratulations to all the lizards out there who, got up every morning and either cheered or ran or whatever. I was sitting at home watching because I couldn't go, and I was just so proud. Actually, there were times, where I was here watching some of the footage and stuff like that, and I was literally crying. I mean, I was crying huge crocodile tears.
Me too. I was just crying. Go ahead now.
Right. No, I was crying huge crocodile tears because I was so proud of our lizards. Like, I can't even tell you like how proud I was, as I was addicted to my social media this weekend, trying to see and cheer on virtually everybody that I possibly could, because this weekend is one of my favorite weekends to be in Walt Disney World, and I hated that I missed it, but it's such an amazing experience. And so I'm so proud of every single one of you that got out there, and all the lizards. You all are amazing. And I'm just so proud of each and every one of you. So I really did. I seriously, you can ask Brian. I seriously was we stopped and went and got brunch, and I'm sitting there. I drove separate, and I'm sitting there crying big crocodile tears. And he's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "I'm watching Marathon Weekend." I'm watching runners go across the finish line.
Mike ran a sub-2 half. I'm so happy.
Yeah, I wasn't so concerned about your running. I was concerned about other lizards running.
I got to real quick send a shout out to Cheryl. She's in the live chat joining us. First-time marathoner. We had lots of first-time marathoners, but I'm just calling her out because I see that she's in the live chat as we're recording. And I saw her 3 different times on Sunday. And we're going to talk about this. It was hotter than smoke on Sunday. Some people, they make it look too easy. Like when I saw Cheryl every time, she's just chilling, just smiling, giving me high fives. I'm like, I know I look a wreck. I know that I'm 6'3" and I'm all over the place when I'm running. I'm just like, just trying to get there. Cheryl, just cruising. And
That's
so
awesome.
shout out marathoner Cheryl. Heading back to Switzerland, I'm sure here soon, but it was just amazing to spend time with her and have a great time out there on the course with her. I like the switchbacks because you got to see each other a couple times on the course. That's kind of fun. All right, also joining us, Pam Forester up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the greater area. I don't know what you call it. Greater Pittsburgh metropolis. I don't know.
Tri-state. It's like the tri-state area, like everywhere else, right?
I don't know.
How many tri-states are there, do you think, in America? 20,
We're bi-state because we just have Missouri and like the east side.
I see. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yes. But yeah, it was really great to see, I think, especially after the hiatus, to really see the group come together again. I know that there were so many from our lizard group that were down there. And I love the stories, how people come to post in the group about how interacting with the group helped them accomplish this. I think that that's really a rarity, especially for an online sort of social media group, right? Usually when you think of online social media group, the adjectives that don't come to mind are supportive.
Usually hateful.
Right? Like I posted and asked about shoelaces and now someone's stalking me. Or I had an opinion about my car fuel and 8 people unfollowed me.
I'm a horrible person for using this kind of fuel. Yeah, exactly.
It's just that. But that is one thing that the Lizards group has done so well, is really support each other and encourage each other regardless of what, the individual goals are. And I think that that's something that is really important, is that the group is there to support you in your individual goals, not identify goals that maybe they think you should, be like, you always have that friend or maybe parent who's like, what were your goals this year? Here's a list of things I think you should be working on. You're like, thank you, I think. But no, the lizards are just really supportive of all the different stages and everything that goes on. So, and the great thing is too, it really is like a family, and it's awesome to get to meet everyone else's family too. So 100%. Love that.
All right. Also joining us, my brother from another mother, who we've done now 6. No, we've done 5 dopey challenges together. That's crazy. I can't believe that. We've done a lot.
I've done 4, but
no 4. Okay,
your first one,
because
I know the saying. I just did the full, or only.
Yeah, I know. Seriously, you only did the full that one time because I only did the full my first one. Yeah, who cares?
I'm one behind you.
In January. That's right. He's a 5-time marathoner. He's Scotty G, the hashtag. What's up, Scott? We are recovered. We're back home. We're just trying to, it's funny. We went 26.2 miles on Sunday, but right now it's really hard just to walk across the living room to the bathroom. I'm so sore. It's crazy.
So I jinxed myself. Our friend Beth asked me like on Saturday because she was going to join us for dinner. I said, nah. She's like, do you need me to bring anything, like pick up anything at Target? Do you need like stuff for blisters? And I kid you not, I said, blisters? I don't ever get blisters. Like I don't need anything for that. I have the worst blister right now. Like I could not walk.
No.
I could not put any pressure on like my right heel. And as you know, like the stairs are real. Like my office I'm working in right now at home is upstairs. So I'm going up and down the stairs all day. It's just been fun. I will say here in the States this weekend, we have a 3-day weekend with Martin Luther King holiday coming up. And I am thankful for that because I need as much relaxation as I can get.
That's exactly right. All right. So we're going to recap. The ladies are going to jump in as well with some thoughts. But okay, let me just kind of give the initial, like how I thought this was going to go down. Just some thoughts before like we dive into we'll hit the expo, we'll hit the races, stuff like that. Again, we'll cover this stuff again down the line as well, because you can't get it all in one show. But I think kind of the overall theme of Marathon Weekend 2022, of course, we had Wine and Dine back in November, but Marathon is kind of its own special thing. It's like, it's the big one. And it's the one that most people, if you're going to run Disney Weekend, if you're one of those people that does things over and over, most people try to not miss January for Marathon Weekend. And there was kind of a sense of like, we are back. We heard that many times from, the race announcers, John Pelkey and Riley and Carissa and Creed. We'll talk about them because Scott and I have opinions on that. They did a tremendous job this weekend. But I think the overall theme of that was a lot of us were really unsure over the past 6 months, maybe year, that this was ever going to happen. And I think a lot of folks were kind of maybe undertrained for this weekend, just for the fact that you would get into a training program and you would have this doubt in the back of your head, like, do I really want to do a 26-mile run or a 24-mile training run? Because so many things in society have just been snatched away at the last minute, right? So I think a lot of people, a lot of people have battled COVID or have had just so many obstacles with transitions in their employment over the past year. And I think that, training for a marathon was a really difficult thing to do over the past year because of so much uncertainty. And I think that showed for a lot of us. There were a lot more nerves down this year, I think, for 2022 marathon than I've seen in the past. I mean, Scott, do you echo that, or how did you feel going into the overall feel this weekend?
Yeah, I think a lot of people were. A lot of the common conversation was, man, I'm so excited, but I'm undertrained. Like, you heard the word undertrained by just about everyone in our group, and I think that was because we were so anxious to register for another Run Disney race when, everything that happened in 2020, we're still fighting through that with the pandemic. But when the return of Run Disney was announced, everyone that's ever done a Run Disney race got just so psyched, right? Oh my God, I got to get back down there. You're like, this is a sign that things are getting back to normal. Run Disney's back. So everyone's on there on Tuesday morning doing their registration. And then they probably think, oh no, like, I'm not ready for this.
Yeah, this is actually happening. Yes.
Yeah. You were just so psyched to register. And then come, September, October, you're thinking, oh shoot, I got to do dopey. I got to do full marathon, half marathon, whatever in 3 months. So a lot of people were undertrained, including myself. But yeah, just the excitement, and you're right. There was Wine and Dine and there was great excitement there, but like, this is the big one, right? Like, this is where you have the full marathon, which we haven't done a full marathon in 2 years down in Walt Disney World. And there was just so much excitement from all the participants and the race announcers and spectators, everyone in the park. Just a different type of dynamic this weekend for sure.
All right, so let's hit some talk here for the folks that are not runners and they're like, who cares about tight shorts and short shorts and sneakers and all that stuff? I stayed at Pop Century Resort, and I'll say it worked out well. I was solo there. I just went down, met up with all. You're never solo at a race weekend when you're on the Lizards. Trust me, there's hundreds of folks everywhere. But I stayed at Pop Century, and it worked out wonderful for me. Access to the Skyliner. I will say the bus service to all the races was, tremendous. I walked onto a bus every morning. Now, in the past, there have been lines to get on the buses, like the big motor coaches that take you to the start, all the way down from, usually you get on like at the Disney Springs, that last bus stop at Pop Century. And sometimes the line would go all the way down to, say where the Magic Kingdom bus stop is. Not this time. And I went out about 3:20ish every morning. And basically they just had the buses stacked. You just walked right onto a bus. Boom, you were out of there. So great bus service. The room was awesome. Skyliner access if I want to get around. Perfect. I couldn't have been better for me. Scott, I know that you stayed at Riverside and you had some thoughts on the room because you had a room that I didn't even know existed. And I'm a travel agent. You had a king. So you're at Riverside in Alligator Bayou. You had a king room, 5th sleeper, which I thought was interesting because you had a
third sleeper. Third sleeper.
Yeah, the third sleeper, I guess it is. I mean, but you had the pull down in a king, which I thought was interesting.
I thought it was interesting, and it created a lot of dead space. Like I just like walked in and like I had a whole dance floor basically. You did when you walked in.
It was dance floor, exactly.
Yeah. But we stayed at Riverside, and I was excited to stay there because it's one of the more recent resorts to open. I think it opened October 14th of last year, so I was excited to get back there. And Pam, let me ask you this, just a general question, like how often should you power wash a building? Or I want to know, like, if you're into power washing, how frequently should you power wash?
If it's my house, it's getting done anytime that it needs wash.
Okay. I don't know how often you need something washing, but I'm thinking a resort that opened that was shut down for so long, that opened October 14th.
Yeah,
should not need to be power washed 3 hours a day during the middle of the day, 3 months after it opened. So I tell you,
so is that what they were doing? They were power washing.
Oh yeah,
constantly power washing. Okay, so I would go to the race. Elizabeth would stand back or cheer or whatever. We'd come back. I'd want to like snooze for a little bit while we go to the pool. I'd get out of the shower, then all of a sudden you hear. And this had happened for like 3 hours nonstop. Okay. It was like, it was not relaxing at all. and I'm not going to dive into this. I've had a lot of service issues for like the last half dozen stays I've had at Walt Disney World. But, once again, magic problem issues, couldn't get into the room. Pam, at Riverside in certain buildings, there's not an elevator, and I was up on the top level. Kind of stinks when you carry your luggage all the way up and then you can't get into your room.
I have literally thrown a piece of luggage.
We talked about that.
We shared that story. We definitely shared that story together with Paul Steve Forrester.
Yeah. Yep. Mike and I told Elizabeth that, and Elizabeth at first couldn't believe it. Then she was like, "Oh, that sounds like something Steve may have done or Pam would have done."
No, I've been there. I've done it. It was the middle of summer. We dragged, I don't think we had done a cruise and a long stay and dragged all this luggage up there. Walked into the room and the carpet was soaked. They
probably power washed, did they? Get the water
power washing.
And
all about power washing every day.
Literally, luggage went over the balcony onto the grass below.
That's so great.
It's just like
how does the mousekeeping work on that floor? Like, do they just carry, is there a secret cast member elevator that we don't know about?
Well, I don't think there's an elevator, but I think there's a closet where they keep the cart. So I don't know.
And then they just have to keep running up and down the stairs to restock.
I guess. Yeah.
It just blows my mind that there's not an elevator. It really does.
I know. I agree.
I mean, the king room was nice. It's like any other moderate, it just wasn't my favorite. We were in Alligator Bayou. My bus service, Mike, was the opposite of yours for the race weekend. I got out there at the same time as you, and unlike Pop, there's like different stops right at Riverside. We're like on the west side of the resort in Alligator Bayou. And man, I had to wait 15-20 minutes most morning for a bus. And it made me a little nervous that I was going to miss the race every single morning. But I mean, I love the resort. French Quarter is easily accessible. So, we went over there one morning and got some beignets. We had a car. We just kind of drove over. So that was really nice. We took the boat, which is one of my favorite rides, the Sassagoula boat down to Disney Springs. It was so nice to be back on the Sassagoula again. Pam, I think you really enjoy doing that as well.
I do. I think it's awesome, especially to go over to Disney Springs. That means you can have dinner at the Springs, not have to worry about bus transportation or whatever. And it sort of drops you off at that area down by Rainforest Cafe and that area. So I love that. I think that's such a huge plus for those resorts. I think it's a reason that so many people end up staying there too.
I agree 100%. Anytime I can be like on some kind of water transportation, like sign me up. Like I just love it.
It's better.
Yep, it is better. But Mike, I was talking about the car, and I just kind of wanted to hit on one thing. So, the start of this trip for most of us, if we didn't get there by January 1st, Disney's Magical Express had already ended. So I went through getting a rental car. You came with me. Marlessa, a friend of the show, she joined as well. But I'll tell you, I saw a lot of Mears Connect vehicles going around. And what's funny, Pam, Ricky, Mike, they're the same vehicles. Like you could totally see where it said like Walt Disney World, like in the decal was just like removed off of these vehicles.
I'm sure that's how that worked. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, drivers are wearing the same uniforms for Magical Express.
Yeah. Because Mears, I'm sure, own those buses to begin with.
Right.
So
yeah, for sure. So you still saw a lot of those vehicles going around. I had no problem with the rental car. We always go through National. We do the executive aisle. So plenty of cars for us to be had. But I know this will impact some vacations in the future. But Mike, how about you? How did you get back to the airport? Not to jump too far ahead, but did you end up doing a Lyft or an Uber?
So I did an Uber, and I just rolled out so I didn't know exactly what time to do it. So I used, again, my old knowledge of Disney. I just went out there. What time would Magical Express pick me up? Because I didn't want to mess with missing my flights with everything that's going on. I had an 11:10 flight home on Monday. And so I was like, well, Magical Express picks me up at usually like 8:10, it's usually 3 hours before. So I just walked down at like around 8:15, went out to that little, the pickup spot for Ubers, hit that thing. A driver was there within 3 minutes. He got me to the airport in 27 minutes.
I was say, man, they get there quick.
Flying, dude. We were passing people left and right. But I was like, as long as he didn't kill me, I'm good. But I timed it because I wanted to know for the show, right? I'm like, holy cow. We got there. Of course, I wasn't in a hurry really because I went down there. I was so conservative on the time I ordered the Uber because I didn't know, because I was thinking there's a lot of people on Monday morning. People are going home from the races. I was like, there might not be a lot of Ubers available. Nope, dude. What he did was he was dropping somebody off from the airport. And so then he picked me up. So he was like making a whole round trip kind of thing. Right. But 27 minutes I was at the airport. We were flying down the highway though. I wouldn't recommend this for anybody that's nervous on highways because this dude was flying, but he got me there, dropped me off, and it was real nice because they drop you off right at the place where you check your luggage, instead of having to go up the escalators and stuff. So yeah, it worked out great. It was $38 and a 20% tip.
So that's a good option. I don't know a whole lot about the Mears Connect or other like third-party services, but I know a lot of people depended on the Magical Express. It was a good benefit for sure. But there's rental cars, there's Ubers and Lyfts and ride shares like that. So plenty of options still to be had.
Let's talk real quick though about for Run Weekend specifically. We made a grocery store run because you had the minivan. We were out there. We were starving. Of course, we're always starving at Walt Disney World. So we were off property. We grabbed Chick-fil-A. We noticed that next door there was a 7-Eleven. So the Powerball was
yes. So Mike, and you teased about Publix, but Mike did the first time in his life because I told him hey man, the Powerball is like 600 million. Like let's get. I want to be part of a headline that says Michigan man wins Florida man's lottery or something.
Right? Yeah.
So Mike actually bought a lottery ticket. I bought a lottery ticket too, and we're still here recording the Be Our Guest podcast. Yes, so that tells you how we do.
Hey, you'd still be recording anyway. I'm just saying.
I would, but the upgrade plan is still on my screen. I haven't even upgraded our plan here. We're just basic. So
got it.
Yeah. So yeah, we had the Chick-fil-A. We're in one of those cute little plazas, because I kept saying Mike and Elizabeth kept teasing me because I kept calling it cute because of the brick roadway and the plazas looked all fun. But anyway, yeah. So then we went to the gas station. And then Mike, what did we do at Publix besides grocery shop?
So we grocery shop because we got of course I was coming off a wicked stomach bug. I don't know if you guys I was missing in social. Mike Bankhead, when he saw me, he came up to me and he said, dude, I love Mike Bankhead, right? The head job of the Lizards. He's takes care of everybody, loves us all. He came up to me and he said, Mike, I got to talk to you. He's like, I didn't know if you died or if something major was happening in your life because I did not see you on social media and it was college football bowl season. You were not talking smack. He's like, so I thought
you worried him.
Yeah, I did because I wasn't talking smack on Twitter during college football bowl games. I'm like, Mike, dude, you don't even know. Paige brought home this wicked stomach bug and I was just dying for 6 days. 6 days. I was able to get some work done, but shout out to Ben Lappin. I couldn't even get to my computer for 48 hours. He took care of my guest. It was horrible. I mean, horrible. So I lost 7 pounds that week. I didn't know if I was even going to get to go to marathon weekend at that point. It cleared up like 2 days before. But anyway, so what I needed to get at Publix was I needed like water with electrolytes. So I bought that stuff called Propel. That's what Pam told me to get.
Mhm.
So I was like, water and, the electrolytes and stuff. And of course I needed Coke Zero. And I was looking for Uncrustables because I had heard on another like running podcast, they're great for like before your runs in the morning. You get a little peanut butter and jelly and some bread, good to kind of get your body going before a run. Couldn't find Uncrustables anywhere in the Publix, but I did buy Goober, which if you don't know what Goober is, it's a jar that has peanut butter and jelly mixed already. And I bought some Wonder Buns, some honey wheat Wonder, just like hamburger buns.
Nice.
So every morning I made myself a little Goober sandwich, and that's what I had on the way to the bus. It was nice, really tasty. And I also bought some little Debbie donut sticks just for
Nicely
treat.
done. Nicely done. Yes.
So we went there, but the highlight of it was, again, Sandy, that server at Liberty Tree Tavern that we had way back in that August, she raved, and I've seen this on social media, right? It's a social media thing. These pub subs, these Publix sandwiches. We weren't even hungry. We had just finished eating at Chick-fil-A. Like, I didn't eat at pubs, and we were eating somewhere nice that night. But we're like, dude, when in Rome, you got to have a pub sub.
Gotta have a pub sub.
So Liz ordered one up. We stood in the parking lot because these things were falling all apart.
I said, we're not taking it into the minivan. Like, I don't want to get like stains in this new vehicle or whatever. So we're going to take this like a football game. We're just going to tailgate in the parking lot of Publix and cut this sub into thirds. And Elizabeth just took one bite, so me and Mike basically split it. But yeah, and I thought it was good. It was a good sub.
Yeah, I would totally have these all the time if I had Publix in St. Louis. It was worth the experience. So that was a great way to kind of have a new. I think somebody said I now have Florida residency because I think it was Joe Laszlo, since I've had a pub sub. So there you go. So we did that and we got back to the hotel. So we don't go too long on these things. So let's talk Expo. So Scott, thoughts on the Expo? We kind of talked about this on Wednesday. Light on merch. Pretty well run, I would say. It wasn't crazy.
Yep. I don't like to get there right when it starts. I heard stories about 2-hour waits to get Expo merchandise. I was happy to see, though, they still had like those new limits that you kind of see like outside of the Expo, like the 2 per person. So that made me feel a little bit better that you didn't have like eBay hoarders, going after stuff, which they probably still were trying to find workarounds and ways to do that. But I heard a lot of disappointments in finding merchandise. There was like the weekend jacket. It was like this blue and white jacket that I really wanted when I saw like the social media post by Disney. Those were all gone when we got there. But Mike, I think you and I, we have some unique sizes. Like, I wear the big man size, the big guy size, and I was able to find the jackets that I wanted. But yeah, basically there was like smalls and extra smalls and like double XLs were like the only stuff that you could really find when we got there later in the day.
Yeah, and the colors are kind of, I guess they're supposed to match the colors of the shirts, like for the distances. So they're kind of interesting. But yeah, I did it jacket again. We both talk about this. We didn't even dare try it on, before. You just don't do that. So it hung up at the hotel until after Sunday. But yeah, we're wearing those now, so we're proud that we finished the dopey. But yeah, the merchandise was fine. It was just light, but people were disappointed that they missed out on stuff. I did have one of our listeners I talked to at the Expo, Michelle, I think, she had a simple suggestion. Maybe you make the Run Disney, because you have like the general merchandise, like the running stuff, like in the Expo, that's over in a different building. But you have in what's called the arena, which is where all the cheerleading and dance stuff happens at other times of the year. That's where they put all the Run Disney merch that everybody's like hot and heavy for. Like, these pullovers, the ornaments, stuff. One thing that was unique, they had like signs, like these big, like 6-foot long signs you could buy for the distances. I think they just printed too many and they wanted to get rid of them, but they were cool. I'd have loved to brought one home. My wife would have killed me. But here's the thing. She had a suggestion that maybe for the Run Disney like merchandise, maybe you have to have a bid to get in, because that way you're invested. At least you've paid money for a race, and that way it keeps one of the eBay scalpers out. Maybe, I don't know, because we got there at 1:00, and it looked like a hurricane had hit the place, and it only been open for like 3 hours. It was tore up. I just got this,
but everything else has stayed the same. It's like it's an event to go over there. There's potentially 3 different areas you're going to. You got to go to get where you get your bib, and then they send you off to where the vendors are, and that's where you got to get your shirt. And then if you want to go to the Run Disney specific, you got to go to another arena. And I've shared this before, and I know why Disney wants you to go down there. They want you to spend money on the vendors, but I feel as an on-site guest, it would be so awesome if you just checked into your hotel and they had all that just sitting in your room, so that I wouldn't have
You
to
could
go.
order ahead of time.
Yeah, I would pay a fee, right, Pam? Like I would pay,
Yeah.
I'd pay $10 per race or $15 per race to have like my bib and then my shirt just sitting in my on-site resort room, But it's because that saves time, right? It saves time off my feet having to walk around the expo too, So
Yeah,
but I know they'll never do that.
That'd be hugely. I mean, you could charge a huge premium to have like your bib bag, everything, your goodies, just sitting on your bed in your room when you got there, or just like you go down to the hotel, and they just go in the back. Sometimes you get like magical extras, and they just have them in that back room at check-in. Like, oh, sir, hang on one second. You always think it's gonna be something really cool. Like, yes, what are they going back there to get? And it's like, oh yeah, you got some pop-up passes. It's like, oh
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they could do that, but I think the thing is that the vendors,
right?
They need the traffic, and that's why they're paying premium to be there. Yeah. But the Expos, I mean, it is what it is. A little light, but I mean, everything this year is weird on supplies. Okay, so let's talk about the races. So 5, 10, half full, so we can kind of, we don't want to break them all down. We can go to 5. The 5 was probably the coldest of the 4 mornings, and cold, I mean, is relative. The weather was awesome this year. I will say, probably the best weather for the entire weekend that we've had in the last, I would say, 6-7 years. Would you agree? I mean, I thought the weather was
agree with that. Yeah.
Okay, so 5. Yeah. What do you remember from the 5? I overdressed. I know that.
No, the 5 is good. So Pam, you had me cracking up because like I'm kind of unique. I have a unique personality. I don't wear like typical run shirts when I go running. I just throw on a golf polo. I go down here just to have fun. I'm not like a super duper athlete. So I wear golf polos. And I was trying to dress kind of like the characters to the race, so I had like this Pluto thing going on. And Pam commented to me like, "Looking a little preppy there today, Scott."
You did. You looked like you were going to go out and hit some balls on the course. You did. You were going to like step off the 5K course and onto the golf course.
That was the plan, right? So that I actually wore like a sweatshirt that day, Mike, for the 5K, and just kept it on the whole time.
Yeah, you had a collar you could have popped.
Yeah. But yeah, so the 5K was good. If I recall, the course was a little different, right? Because we went out of because we went by Ratatouille in the 5K, didn't we, or no?
Yeah, we did, because I didn't know which way to go. Because this year the weather was awesome, and my personality, I have something wrong with my brain. Like, I'm super competitive. I mean, I've tried to shake it my whole life, but like I just get like my juices get fired up when I get in an environment like this. And so all 4 races, I told myself I'm just going to slow down and have fun. Nope. I tried to run pretty fast on all 4 of them. I shouldn't have, but I did. And so I was cooking by this point, because this was towards the end of the 5K. And always you just run through World Showcase, right? I mean, you go through, you hit, Japan and then Morocco, and you go, over the bridge by France. Nope. All of a sudden there's this wicked, like 90-degree left turn in Morocco where you go backstage, but all these people were still going straight because there was a photo op there too, but they had those yellow cones. And for part of me, I didn't know I almost locked up. I didn't know which way to go. Like, I know the cones are there, but there's a lot of people going straight. That's how we always go. Do I go left? And so I just followed the majority of the people that went left, and that's what we did. But they took us back through, the newly renovated France, which I thought was awesome.
That was awesome. Another thing that was awesome, because every race touched Epcot, obviously, at some point. Like, that's how Marathon Weekend works. They all start there and end there. But they had like I almost said illuminations. They had the harmonious like barges, like with signs like, saying like if it was the 5K, it would say "Welcome runners to the Walt Disney World 5K," and then 10K they had like a sign saying the 10K on the barges. And I thought that was a pretty neat touch, Mike. How about you?
Yeah. And they had the water fountains going. That was good. It was very cool looking. It was a very nice feature. So yeah, the 5K was awesome. Really good race to kind of get everybody kicked off. I did wear too many clothes. Like I said, by the end of the 5K, I was just sweating. But again, it's like you got to get that first race in to kind of decide what you're going to wear. 10K day, this was the Oswald. I will say too, overall, the medals, they killed it this year. These are
one of the best years for medals.
Weekend.
The Pluto one, actually, I think the 5K actually is my favorite from the weekend. That Pluto medal is so darn cute. And when you turn it over, it says, and Mike, you discovered this, so why don't you share because I didn't even notice about this until you told me.
Yeah, so I was sitting there having breakfast after the race down at Pop Century, and I took this picture. You can find it on my Instagram with like the medal hanging there over just the bounty platter, which I love. And I flipped it over, and I was like, what's that? And it says, if lost, please return to Mickey Mouse, or something like, if lost, property of Mickey Mouse. Like a dog tag would be. And this for Pluto. Very
That's
cool.
cool.
That's a great medal. So 10K, Oswald. We went because so obviously we double it up on this day. And Scott, talk about this course and what you thought about this run.
So this is not your normal Walt Disney World Marathon 10K, where you would, you kind of start at Epcot, you run out through the entrance, and then you come back, go up that big hill, then you enter like through Test Track, go around World Showcase. You actually went through 2 parks on this 10K. It was very similar to Wine and Dines, except you started at Epcot, but we did touch Hollywood Studios. We didn't go up that giant hill that we would normally go through.
Amen.
Yeah.
But
we'll talk about that hill later on in the race weekend.
Yeah, I talked about that last night. Go ahead though. Yeah, totally.
But yeah, so we didn't have to go through the giant hill to get up over Tower of Terror, so that was nice. But yeah, we touched 2 parks. I thought the weather was great for the 10K as well. And Mike, I got to give a shout out to our friend Beth, who crushed her first 10K. That was her first Run Disney race, was the Oswald 10K, and she crushed it. Got it done, got that medal, got the bling. And I know there's a lot of other lizards. I saw, I think Mark Herbst and Sophia, like they dressed as like Prince Charming and Cinderella. Like I saw a lot of great costumes from our lizards, a lot of them doing their first 10K races that day. And mad props to everyone getting that done. I think the 10K is probably my favorite distance. So that's one of my favorite races to do. And I just loved seeing everyone out there getting it done.
Yeah, we had so many first time like things happen we're not gonna be able to hit everybody. I mean, we were so proud of it.
There's so many lizards and so many people we're friends with that we can't say them all, right?
So many first time 5Kers, 10Kers, full marathons, half marathoners, dopies, goofies. I will say though, one of the cool first time things, how about Jared's squad getting on the Run Disney page?
That was awesome.
That was awesome with the photo pass picture. I was like, they're on the Run.
Those were great costumes. They truly were.
That crew, I got to run with them during the it was that day where they had the photo pass ones. I got to run with them on the half, and that was like a bucket list item for me, man. Running with Jared's crew, they are so awesome.
They are.
But
you roll in with a big pretzel and stuff at the full marathon at the. Okay, so yeah, 10K was fun. It was really cool. It was very similar to the Wine and Dine 10K. Just it was.
I will say though, so they've changed the corrals a little bit. They started this at Wine and Dine, so it used. God, my gosh, I remember when I used to go to like Corral S, like back in the day, like there were so many. Then they started going to like F, and then they started doing these waves within the corrals. And now it's basically the same thing, but they just number them now instead of like A, B, C, D. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know how they create the corrals. I was like in 3 for Wine and Dine, and I was in 5 for Marathon Weekend. It was just like kind of all over the place. But I will tell you, like they really spaced it out there in the 10K. I didn't start the 10K till 6 o'clock in the morning, and the first people went off at like 4:55. It was nuts.
Yeah, here's the thing though about the corrals, just quick, for the runners, is that I was in S4 and it went to 6, so I was in the back again. I don't even know if I put a qualifying time, so that was on me. But the thing is that I don't know, because you mentioned like how we used to have corrals with letters all the way back to like G, H, I, J, K.
Yeah.
But in practicality, I mean, I think there's still as many people all bunched up together, and the course was super congested for the first couple of miles for me anyway. Like I couldn't,
right.
I mean, I was still bunched up, and I don't know. I guess there's a reason for that, but I don't see any big difference in, 5 years ago to this past marathon.
I don't think there's much difference. I thought they were going to do it a little differently though, because like why change it to a number system? But that's basically what I want to get out there, Mike, is that nothing has really changed. They're still doing the waves. It's just through numbers now. I will say though, masks aren't required in the corrals. I mean, they're required to get on the bus, to get to the race. They won't let you on the bus transportation without the mask because it's indoors. But once you get dropped off, you can take your mask off. But I felt more comfortable wearing my mask in the corrals because I tell you, they just jam you in there. That's no different post-pandemic than it was pre-pandemic. They just jam everyone in there. So based on where you're comfortable, it's not required. But I felt more comfortable wearing it, but not everyone had to. But I just want to throw that out there that they do jam you. There's no separation at all once you get into those corrals.
There's not 6 feet. There's probably not 6 inches.
No, there's not even 6 inches.
You're in there. Yeah, it was crazy. I will say too, I want to throw this out there. Shout out to the Run Disney announcers. They same squad that we've always had. We have John Pelkey, Riley, Carissa, and Creed, and a couple other folks. I can't the lady who speaks a couple of language. I forget her name.
Yeah, she was great. Yeah, I liked her.
Awesome. Yeah. But she's kind of a newer addition to the team. but they do such a great job of passing that like 90 minutes from the time you're loaded into the corrals until you actually get out on the course. They not only motivate you, but they recognize different running groups. They recognize your veterans, your first responders. And they pass the time so well.
One of the most impressive things to me, and I'm sorry, I know Pam and Ricky are like, come on, like, let's talk about like dying of the resorts or something. But one of the best things for me is like, it amazes me. So our national anthem is sung usually by like a Disney artist during every race weekend. And I always think like, what time do they get up? Because there's no way they just roll out of bed and just belt out like a beautiful rendition of the national anthem. Like they must be like in some like camper like close by at like 3 a.m, just like stretching out their vocal cords, right? Because they just hit it spot on every time. Don't you agree, Mike?
No, especially the full guy, the guy who sang the full. I was getting goosebumps. I mean, you're standing in a parking lot at 4:55 a.m. because they started the full early.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, this guy is. I mean, all 4 artists were amazing, amazing. But I don't know, maybe if I just was more sensitive because it was the full marathon.
I thought the 10K one was the best one personally. Like that guy was just unbelievable. But yeah,
he was good too. I remember that. Yeah. So that was at the half marathon. Again, this is where you go from Epcot to over to the Magic Kingdom and back. Again, it's that kind of that same course. You get to run through the castle on this one, which was a lot of fun. Again, really cool. Actually, almost ideal running conditions, which I think got a lot of us in trouble because we were, a lot of folks doing dopey or goofy are going to kick back on the half, save it for the full. But I think a lot of folks just decided to go a little crazy because it was nice. That's what I did. But it was fun. I had a good time on Saturday, so it was a good run. So what did you think about the half?
Yep, half is good. It's the same course as always. It's fun to get out there when you're doing dopey. So I'm going to give a shout out to our Disney Photo Pass cast members. They do a great job capturing photos of you on course. And they were firing them out quick. You'd get back to your room or get back to the bus and you'd already have photos in your My Disney experience.
You think that has to be automated at this point, right? There's no way there's a cast member.
I don't know. We have some Photo Pass friends we might have to reach out to and confirm.
Yeah.
Like,
it was crazy.
I was stunned. Like, yeah, I would go to the bus and you're done with the race. You're kind of tired to get your phone out. Like, oh, let's make a ADR or whatever. You open up the app and then you're like, oh my God, there's race photo for something I just did an hour ago. But what I like about it when you do dopey with the half, if your castle photo wasn't very good, you're like, okay, I'll get another shot tomorrow.
Exactly. Mine was better on Saturday than Sunday. Sundays was terrible.
I think my Sunday one was better, but because I'm okay on the half, like because I was doing like these bounding or whatever. Like I tried to dress as Donald Duck. Pam, I like your comment on that too. I had the captain's hat that Steve got me. I was wearing on Saturday.
No.
And
did you play?
And I just like looked at that photo. I looked at my castle. I was like, I look kind of dorky. So I was happy that I got her a shot on Sunday. But yeah, the half course is awesome. Cone Alley is crazy. I know there's so many first timers, and I'm sorry, but she calls into the live show all the time on Sunday. So I got to give a big old shout out to Marlessa getting her first Run Disney half marathon done on Saturday. I know we had a lot of first timers. I love you all, but great job getting it done on Saturday for the half marathon. That was awesome.
Absolutely. All right, let's get to Sunday. This is where people were finishing goofy challenges, dopey challenges, just folks that were again, only at Walt Disney World where we say just doing the full, because doing the full on this hot Sunday was quite the accomplishment. And I know some people had to tap out at different places along the course. And you know what? Let me just say this right now. I've done 8 marathons at this point and lots of half marathons. That day on Sunday was one of the most difficult in the backside of the race. And I ran pretty hard because I knew the conditions were going to be really, really rough once the sun came up. Mm-hmm. I ran into this in October in the Chicago Marathon. I struggled and it took me forever to recover. For 3 weeks, I wasn't right after Chicago because of the heat and the humidity, and the forecast was exactly the same for this marathon Sunday. So I just went as fast as I could until the sun came up, and then I just kind of hung on. So I know some folks that had a little, some struggles in the back half, like say from miles like 15 on. That course was extremely difficult. And the fact that you were out there and that you would accomplish that many miles on such a tough day, you're amazing. 26 is an arbitrary number. I mean, it's a distance between 2 cities way back in Greece, thousands of years ago. It's one thing that we revere kind of as runners, but it really doesn't make a lot of sense anyway. If you pushed yourself and you got X amount of miles in, celebrate that. We're extremely proud of you And, I couldn't be more proud that you got to that start line and that you made it, down Cone Alley, through the Magic Kingdom, up that hill by the Contemporary. I mean, it was a hard course on a rough day. Congratulations to those people that made the finish line, but more congratulations, I think, to those people that just attempted it and got as far as your body would take you that day. Because you don't always make it your first time, and there's always going to be another day. And celebrate it. I mean, I know that folks, they wanted to get there and they just, it was just a rough day. I am extremely proud. So Scott, we saw that and it was just, it was a hard day to be out there. So celebrate.
It was a tough day. I would say the first half of the day felt pretty good. It was when that darn sun came up. And
that's it.
Like, I don't understand. I mean, I understand the way the course is laid out, right? But my gosh, like when you're in Animal Kingdom, like Western Way, Bear Island area, like in the heat of the sun is just, there's no shade to be had. And that you could be going strong for 14, 15 miles and that would just ruin you right there. Just like the heat and off the pavement, just pounding off you. It was a tough day. I don't know if you know this, Mike, but there was a balloon lady that even dropped and got swept. Like one of the pacers, one of the pacers had to drop out because the conditions were tough.
Wow.
They didn't cut the course this year like they did in 2020. I still don't think it was as hot as 2020. It was close though. It was getting there. It was getting there. But yeah, big shout out to those. Even those that I can't really say more than what Mike just said. You got to the starting line. That takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of guts to do that. To wake up at 2:00, 1:30 in the morning, whatever time you wake up, to get to that start line. That's being a winner right there for sure. But Sunday was a tough day. I was pacing myself on the slower side. I was very steady all day. I just want to be like a minute faster than the balloon lady so that I had a buffer, so I was steady with a 15-minute pace most of the day. And then I got to the Animal Kingdom and man, it started hitting me. Came across one of our good friends, Scott Nyman, like his knee was kind of hurting. He's like, "Hey Scott, I'm just walking it in from here." And so, I just joined him and was just like a little Sunday stroll from there. We were just chatting, having a good old time. And we just walked our way into the line. Love seeing all the Be Our Guest cheer squad, like big props to them. I try to give them a shout out on the social media every day, taking selfies with them because that's hard work too, man. Getting up early. They're not moving. They're not running. They're not being entertained like we are. They're just standing there being the entertainment really for us. And I appreciate them very much. So
100%. Yeah, 100%.
And those virtual too. Pam, Ricky, everyone that was at home sending messages, giving shout outs, man, that goes a long way for sure. I appreciate that so much.
I echo that 1,000% because it was rough. And by Sunday we knew it was going to be hard. And that encouragement got us there or got us, as far as we could get. So thank you to that. Sunday was just incredible. Western Way was just, it was mentally tough. Like I just remember, I just knew that because if you're a runner, it was after we left Blizzard Beach, you have the stretch out by Coronado Springs, and it is straight as an arrow, and the sun was just pounding down, and you can see where you're going, and you can see up for an extremely long way. Sometimes it's better to have like blind churns, so you don't know exactly where you're going, but you could see how far it was. You could see everybody around you was dragging. They were handing out sponges to cool you down, but that was tough. Then once you made it to the studios, you kind of picked up. But I will say, so they cut this hill. If you've ever done a Run Disney event, there's this hill that's backstage by Fantasmic. And it's not real long, but it is steep. It is a steep hill, and at the top you get chocolate. So it's mile 22 or 23 or something on the marathon course. So they had cut this hill on the 10K and the half. And so Scott and I were commenting like, that was such a great idea. They took us around by Rock and Roller Coaster. It's flat as a pancake. It adds a little bit more time in the studios. You get to go down Sunset Boulevard the entire length. It was great. So I'm thinking, man, somebody was so smart about this. They cut that hill out. Well, dang it, on the full marathon, if we don't come into the studios and they have that hill in the course again, are you kidding me? You're putting this hill in on a day where it's blazing hot and we're going 26 miles in the hills here? I was fired up. I'm just saying. I wanted to write a strongly worded letter. And then, so of course, like chocolate at the top of the hill, chocolate. I'm like, heck yeah, dude, chocolate. At least if I got to climb Mount Everest at the studios here, I'm going to get chocolate at the top. I get up there,
no chocolate.
Milky Ways with nougat, garbage. Garbage. I hate nougat. I mean, I'm not trying to be picky, but give me some Hershey's. I just want chocolate. Don't give me no pencil eraser in the middle of chocolate. No. I want this chocolate. Give me a Mr. Good bar or something with, but you know what? It was mile 23 and I was starving. I ate that.
We're going to eat that nougat.
Here's another thing. Let me just talk about this while I'm on a rant. So you stuff this little mini chocolate bar in your mouth, which you're dehydrated because it was hot and I've been out there for like 4 hours at this point. Immediately you go around the corner, you're on Sunset Boulevard, and there's a PhotoPass person. So I'm like, I got chocolate all over my teeth. So I'm like, don't smile, but try to look good. So I'm like, in that picture. And then on top of that, you turn the corner, there's a water station. Try chugging down Powerade with chocolate in your mouth. It like gives you that electric shock feeling. I should have taken water at that one, but I'm an idiot. I mean, it's just like, come on now. Like it was like, okay, a hill, nougat, PhotoPass with chocolate all over your teeth, and then you wash it all down with some good sweet Powerade. It was just like, oh, good Lord. And I was just done with the world. It was mile 23. I'm like, I just want to kill somebody at this point. So bring it on. So, Scott, final thoughts on the full. I did enjoy finishing it, though.
So one of my favorite parts, one of the most entertaining parts to me is, I mean, you run through Magic Kingdom, before there's any guests. That's so great. There was a great sign. I don't know if you saw the sign on Main Street. You've probably seen it on social media at least. Whereas, like, you run Disney better than Bob Chapek, which was kind of great.
That's awesome.
That guy was on Main Street USA on the full. But and you run through Animal Kingdom, and there's some day guests there, depending on what time you get there. But for most people, even I think faster guys like you, Mike, there's some day guests at the studios when you get in there, and possibly Epcot. I don't know, maybe not this year for you, but there always is for me because I always start pretty late. I'm kind of on the slower side. But I just love watching the day guests because they are so many of them are so confused. What's happening.
Just trying to get the roller coaster.
But some of them get so angry because, like, you guys know, like they'll hold you in a certain spot, and then like once there's a gap in the marathon course, they'll send like 5 people across. And I've just seen so many people just like yelling at cast members, which is really rude to do, just saying like, I got to get over there. I got an ADR or I got to get this, blah, 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 whatever it is.
I got an individual lightning lane.
And I'm just thinking like, dude, sure, man, go ahead and cut me off, man. I'm at mile 25. I can stop for you.
I can totally stop for you.
Stopping, so take your chances because I'm
going to not. There comes a 280-pound dude coming your way. Like, okay, watch out, bro. But no, that's always entertaining for me at the end of the race, just seeing like the day guests, and that's a very small portion that just like sticks out to me. I mean, they're all out there. I mean, they're cheering you on. I mean, who wouldn't do that, right? If you're a day guest and had no idea, like what?
I know. I often think that Disney should explain that better. Like sometimes they leave a note about transportation or something in your room, but like. It's not just transportation that's impacted. No. Like it's going to be like craziness at different times. And I just don't understand why they aren't like, hey, here's what's going on. And here's some things you may encounter. I mean, like set the expectation. I don't know.
And even they could even email people before they know they're coming.
Don't get crazy, Ricky.
I'm sorry. I asked you.
That can't happen, first of all. No.
Okay, asked too much. Okay, got it.
I know. Oftentimes, so here's a little look behind the curtain. I'll be like, why isn't this being emailed out to like the guests? Oh, we don't have the guest email.
What?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
How do I sign into my Disney experience?
Right, exactly.
Some days I sign into it 200 times because each time I sign in, I have to get the code from my phone.
Where do you get the code from?
Your email. Yeah, exactly.
Email.
I know, right?
But I know we just talked a lot about the races, but some of the other stuff we did, Mike, too. Like, so I mean, not to overbeat it, but the dining was great. We went to Boathouse. The menu kind of slightly changed at, I can't ever pronounce this restaurant, the one at Boardwalk, Trattoria,
El Forno, yeah.
Yeah, so like the chicken parm was kind of different. Didn't taste so good.
Doesn't sound like in a good way.
No, it's just not.
No. But the lasagna was different. I thought the lasagna was awesome.
The lasagna was killer. And it was like a 3D flower looking thing. It was fancy looking, but God, it tasted good too.
Oh, that's what that was. It was lasagna. Yeah. Okay.
It was so good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So they did do a chef change there, but I mean, that worked out good. Grand Floridian Cafe. That was good. No real excitement happened over there. And then Sanaa, we carb loaded with the bread service, right before the full marathon. I don't think I've ever had Sanaa before a full marathon. It kind of could be dangerous,
Yeah,
but,
that's
right.
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
but hey, it got us through Sunday, man. So
There
that
you
was
go.
good.
That's awesome.
Good.
Anything else different or that jumped out to you, Mike, during the race weekend? Anything you wanted to share?
I will just say, and I've said this every year, I think, is that what I really enjoy, and one of the reasons that I try to go as hard as I can on Marathon Sunday, is that I do like to get my medals, collect my medals, and get back into Epcot and watch everybody else finish the race as much as I can. And usually we have a cheer squad set up in Mexico. So like Dave and Eileen Lawrence were there. The Bretziuses came over, and we had a whole squad there after a little bit. And, we do get margaritas for some folks and stuff as we can, as folks are coming in. And the thing for me is, again, this gets back to kind of the day guests. And I know day guests are there to do Frozen Ever After and ride Soarin' and see shows and stuff like that at Epcot. But it is so inspiring. But I honestly got choked up watching runners come by after I finished the marathon. I didn't cry or anything when I crossed the finish lines, but when I saw some of these folks coming in, I'm talking lizards especially, but even folks I didn't know that were, fighting it so hard there in World Showcase. And I knew they were like, 0.5 miles from that finish line out in the parking lot at Epcot. It was amazing. And, I got to hug some of our lizards coming in. It was a privilege that they came up and said, Mike, I want to get a selfie, and just the fact that I got to cheer for them coming in, and that, we got to kind of share 5 seconds of that 26.2 mile journey, and that I got to be there for that. That was, it's so special. And if you're not a runner, here's, what I want to leave you with is, if you're ever happen to be down there during a race weekend and you get the opportunity to be in a park or get to watch a race, you don't have to be a runner. I'm telling you what, because I didn't believe this until it actually happened to me. You don't have to be a runner. I'm saying this 100 times. If you just need a little inspiration in your life, go watch one of these finish lines. Go up about 0.5 miles, a mile from the finish line, and just watch what people are overcoming, especially on a full marathon, because that is something that, takes you to the verge of just wanting to just kill yourself. It's hard. Like you want to quit 17 times during that race every time, no matter how many times you've done it. We have a lot of friends out there that, that are influencers in the Disney community, run Disney, does stuff with them. I saw on social media a lot of folks that I know that have done many, many marathons that struggled this past Sunday. They got there, but they struggled hard, but they overcame. But just go watch and cheer and just see the tears. You see people just crying because they're going to get there, but man, they fought it the whole time. So if you're not a runner, go watch a finish. And again, I got as much out of getting to have that 5-second interaction with some of our lizards coming in than I did crossing the finish line for my 26.2. So I thank everybody who stopped and said, "Hey, Mike," and just allowed me to cheer, because that was amazing. I love cheering. And
it's just entertaining. The costumes that people wear are just it just blows me away. I know we can't give shout outs to everyone, but he plays a big role with the lizards, right, Mike? And that's Joe.
Oh yeah.
And my man was a different dad from each scene from the carousel.
He really was.
So funny.
It was so amazing what he did.
But Elizabeth told me when she saw him on Sunday, he was in normal running clothes, so he must
have changed. Yeah.
And I don't blame him one bit. For
that. Wasn't he wearing a sweater? Yeah.
For one of them, actually, I think he wore the sweater during the half and kept it on the whole time, which was pretty impressive.
That is impressive.
But just to throw it out there too, we had our regular our Saturday lizard meet too at the Contemporary, so it was nice meeting a lot of people from there. Joe kind of set that whole thing up. I know there was lizard dessert parties. It's a busy weekend. I know me and Mike couldn't make it to everything, because there's so many of us now. It's hard to kind of keep up with all those meetups, but that's what's one awesome thing to see during these race weekends is there's these subgroups, everyone's kind of build different relationships with other people they've met through the podcast and whatnot. It's just kind of awesome to see them having their own meals together and things like that. And I think that's pretty neat.
And I want to
one other thing I want to throw in here, because kind of piggybacks on what Scott said, is that the amount of folks that came up to Scott and I when we were just in a theme park hanging out or at a restaurant or just walking through a resort, that came up and said, "Hey, we listen to the podcast. Just want to, say hi." And it was seriously, when we're recording the show, I'm sitting right now in my studio in my basement in St. Charles, Missouri, in dead heart of, the United States. I think it's just us four, like that listen to
Yes.
this show. Honestly,
No, it's true. It's
maybe
true.
a few folks that are watching us live on Facebook, and it's not a ton of people. But then, like, so many people came up to us and said, like, I love the show. Like, complete strangers that I didn't, haven't had any interaction with on social media. So thank you. I mean, it does show that the show does go out there all over the world, and it meant a lot to us. I mean, Scott, you got that a lot too. I mean, like, folks be like, you Scotty G? I'm like, yeah, see, Scott, now you're getting it. I love it because it means a lot that you would take the time out of your vacation to say, hey.
So there's a person from Lansing that we met at the in the corrals one day, or like in the holding period. And I just gotta tell you, if you're listening to the show, send me that friend request on Facebook so I can accept it. Okay. Like she said that I must have declined it or deleted it. And like, I may not know who she was at the time, but send it again and I will accept it.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Okay,
What were we gonna say though, Ricky?
Okay, go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, yes, I agree with you, Mike. First of all, if you ever see any of us in the parks, please stop and say hello. I promise we're not scary people, and we're really excited to say hello back. So if you ever see us, please say hello. But the other thing I was gonna say is that, a lot of people are nervous about meeting other lizards. Again, this kind of goes back to that. They're nervous about meeting us, or they're nervous about, on these race weekends, meeting other lizards. And, that there are some people that have become friends throughout time. We've been doing these races for a long time. And so there are some friendships that have formed, but that's the best thing about the lizards is that we welcome you in, no matter if this is your first race or you've done this for a while. So please, if you see lizards out there, come say hi to us. Don't be scared and shy, because I saw a few people say I was a little nervous to come say hi to the lizards. So don't do that either. Just come and say hello, and I promise you we will welcome you with open arms. So that's kind of my, I know Princess Weekend is coming up here soon, so I just want to throw that out there for those of you who are going to Princess Weekend, who, there'll be a bunch of lizards. So just go up and say hello. I promise they will welcome you with open arms.
All right. And the last thing you might want to know, how do I get to be a part of the lizards? You can be just somebody who likes to cheer us on, likes to be, just kind of watch from a distance, but also be a part of this. You can be somebody who just wants to go on a journey of walking each day and get encouragement. That's how a lot of us started.
Yes.
You might want to, you have to sign up for a race. There's no qualifications. You just want to be in a supportive group that are Disney fans that are all trying to just get a little bit of fitness. Just drop by Facebook. Just go to Be Our Guest Lizards, and it's a closed group because we keep out the spam and all that stuff. But I think there's a couple like silly questions there. You'll know the answers to them. They're very simple. Mike Bankhead's the administrator. He will get to it. It takes him a couple days sometimes, but he will approve you once he finds out you're not a spammer and you have the right answers. Which again, you'll have the right answers if you listen to the show, and you'll be a part of the lizards. No problem at all.
Shout out to Mike though. Like,
yes,
I know he's been going through some health issues, and man, did he tear up the half marathon. So
it
super
was
proud
so
of him.
good to see him.
And
out
he had
there.
an awesome lizard leap too.
He
And,
did.
tomorrow,
That was the
man.
best
His
picture.
lizard leap was fantastic. Yes.
Not even
Love
fair.
that guy.
Yeah, I did one once, and Scott made a GIF of it, so I never leave the ground again. It's the ugliest thing ever. I can't jump. It's true what they say. So I can't jump. Anyway, yeah, it was awesome seeing everybody. I mean, there were so many other things we can talk about, and we'll probably get to those, throughout the next weeks and months, just little sub stories. But man, I just got to say, thanks to everybody who was a part of this podcast community. I mean,
Yes.
it's so much more fun to go down there and just have friends everywhere. I mean, literally everywhere. It's amazing. Like, not only just like we have we meet up before the races and, in the meetup area before we walk over to the corrals, but throughout the course, every race, somebody's like, go Lizards, or Mike, because we have our bib, our names on our bibs, or, at the, walking through the Riviera, going up to Topolino's, hey, Mike, what's going on? Good race today. High five. And, it doesn't matter. This community has spread, and it's all about positivity. It's amazing. And it's made just my whole, not my Disney experience. I'm not an app, but my whole experience when it comes to Walt Disney World. It has moved so much more away from attractions and restaurants and shows to relationships. I go down there because that's where I see Scott and his family. That's where I see all my other friends, and that's really what it's all about. And it's because of folks. It's because of weekends like this. My heart's full right now. My legs are killing me, and I got a wicked blister on my right toe, right big toe. But hey, it's worth it. I think it'll stay attached. We'll find out in the next couple of days. That was good. All right, well, hey, we're going to duck out of here. We went really, really long into Friday, but hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back again on Monday with a great trip report. But again, join the lizards. Come on over. Princess is coming up. Princess Runners, you are now on the clock. Don't forget, today's show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. Drop on in. We'd love to help you plan that next Disney vacation, whether it's Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney. Just drop by themagicforless.com. Also, please use our Amazon affiliate link, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you to our patrons who allow us to put all this stuff together. And our patrons get a bonus show called Mike in the Midwest. Just drop on in, patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. You can check out all Scott's epic photos over on Instagram, especially at Epscott, EPSCOT, also over on Twitter. Ricky's at Ricky Nibs, RIKKINIBS. Pam's at TMFLT Pam. And you can check out my many, many photos at Be Our Guest Mike on Instagram and Twitter. Also, subscribe to the show on Facebook and YouTube so you get a notification every time we go live. And please, if you don't mind, give us a rating and a review wherever you grab the show. That would mean a ton to us. All right, time to get out of here. We're supposed to get snow this weekend, so I got to rush out and get bread and milk, and that stuff's so dumb. I have a 4x4 Jeep. Who cares? Like, I could drive through that. Why do we do that anymore? Is this 1812? I don't know. Okay, I can do it anyway. I don't care. So pray for me that 2 inches of snow.
It's because the store closes, Mike.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't joke, man. The store could close at any point. It wouldn't be for snow. It's just like, oh,
People are living on the edge with toilet paper. Like they're just this far away from being completely out.
The Starbucks by my house that's open 7 days a week has 7 different hours.
Oh
Like, it
my
makes no
gosh.
sense. Like, I don't know how you keep track of it.
if Mickey ears at Walt Disney World can
This
disappear,
is
dude,
true.
anything's fair.
Anything
game.
is can happen.
Grab it
Yeah.
if you got it. Just saying. All right, we're going to get out of here. So for Ricky, Pam, and Scott, I'm Mike, wishing you a great weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. That was a lot of fun, guys. This is a good one.
That was
Yay.
long.
That
That was a long one. Man.
All right. Well, you guys have a good evening. And
Thank you.
All right.
All right. See ya. All right.
See y'all.
Bye.
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 Peace out, bros and ladies.